Wakey, wakey, time to rise and shine, baby. It is going to be a special day. I've had today, Thursday, April 23rd, marked on my calendar for weeks. Why? Because there have been absolutely no live sports on TV, and it's driving me crazy. Can anyone relate? Is anyone else in the same boat? But today, yes, today, it's as close as we're going to get in the midst of COVID-19. As a matter of fact, as I record this right now, I'm in my home office. I got Jersey Dog at my feet, and I'm getting prepared for today's NFL draft. This starts a few days of the NFL draft. So, matter of fact, in today's episode, I have the face of the NFL Network, Daniel Jeremiah, who will be on air on the podcast, and we are going to go through our top picks. As a matter of fact, I've got my top 6 picks against Daniel Jeremiah's top 6 picks, and we have 100 push-ups on the line. So it's going to be a great episode. Before we go there, a few things. Number one, as always, thank you for listening in today. I was going the other day back through some reviews. A shout out to these few people who just in the last week alone have written great reviews on the Todd Durkin Impact Show. So first up, it's called Fired Up. Chad Landon Parks. Check out this, what he writes. When Coach Durkin speaks, the heart gets pumping and fired up. As a coach, teacher, husband, and dad, I find value in all areas when I listen to the Impact Show. I'm glad we get 2 of these episodes per week in order to stoke the flames. Coach Parks, now that fires me up. Thank you for writing your review. We have 285 reviews, and I need all of us to write some reviews for the Impact Show to keep it coming. Now, check out what Matthew Smith, ATC Man 01, reviewed this past week. Just listen to the episode on Atomic Habits with James Clear as I was getting in my workout. It was a great episode, and it helped validate some of the things that I've thought for a while. It is not about going out and making big changes. It's about making little changes and consistently showing up and doing the little things. While I know that working out is definitely one of my atomic habits, I'm still trying to work on my journaling. It's not as consistent as I might want, yet I will continue to move forward. Great lessons and a wonderful episode. And the last one, whether it be 1 sentence, 2 sentences, or 3 sentences, this guy, the title's called Cool Guy. And it's from Yehoda Ah. Yehoda Ah. It's 2 words. Man, amazing. 3 exclamation points, all caps. Those are 3 reviews just from the past week alone. Guys, we have 285 reviews. If you can help us get over the 300 mark, would be greatly appreciated. Write those reviews on iTunes. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom. It's very simple. It could be 2 words. It could be 2 sentences, or feel free to continue to elaborate. And lastly, before we get to the episode, guys, this is the week I launched on Monday on the episode about my Get Your Mind Right book launch team that's forming now. Matter of fact, it's only this week. So if you want to be part of my book launch team, go to todddurkin.com/launch. todddurkin.com/launch. Now, why should you be on the team? Number one, because you're a fire-breathing dragon if you're listening to this podcast right now. Also, because everyone on the launch team gets the Get Your Mind Right book for free. The digital version goes to everybody, and in advance of our June 2nd launch to the world, which is going to infiltrate the planet with more positivity, energy, and strength than ever before. Matter of fact, we are creating a positivity pandemic starting June 2nd, and I want you part of the team. So if you want to be on the Todd Durkin Get Your Mind Right launch team, I invite you today to take action in the next few days, because it all starts this Monday, April 27th. So you got to take action today. Get on it. todddurkin.com/launch. todddurkin.com/launch. Sign up, and man, it is going to be a lot of fun. Without further ado, I am so pumped up to share today some football talk. We talk an NFL draft. Whether you're a sports fan or not, I think you're going to enjoy the conversation from the one and only Daniel Jeremiah. Let's go out to our conversation now and get ready for the draft. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Todd Durkin Impact Show. And y'all are in for a treat today, because we have my friend, Mr. Daniel Jeremiah. Daniel is here. Daniel, what's happening?
I'm doing good, buddy. How you doing, TD?
Now, if you saw Daniel, you'd probably like, wait a second, I know that guy. How do I know him? How do I know him? Well, because this is a podcast and most of you are not watching it on YouTube, even though we have it on YouTube, Daniel is an analyst for NFL Network. He's the color commentator for the San Diego? No, that's right. The Los Angeles Chargers. He's a writer for NFL.com. He's got his own podcast called Move the Sticks. And, man, if you've ever watched the NFL Combine or the draft, he is the foremost expert. This guy knows football at the college, at any level, but the college and pro. You see his face all the time on the NFL Network. So, Daniel, thanks for joining the podcast today.
No, it's great to be with you, buddy. It's a crazy time, man. But I have so enjoyed. I don't know how you are, but the moments where we can kind of escape what's going on in real life and like football to me is, I know it's real life, but it's not real life. I love it's like such a nice escape, man.
That's why I wanted to have this today all about football, because I am missing sports like so many other people are missing sports, and I'm pumped up for the draft coming up here in just a couple days with the draft coming. I want to talk about the draft, but before I talk about the draft, and I want Daniel Jeremiah's predictions. I mean, I know you're probably holding out for the NFL Network and all that you're going to share. I want to talk about the draft, and I want to see how close your predictions are to my predictions, because I'm going to predict the first 5 picks.
Okay.
I'm going to see where you're at. But before we go there, I want to step back in time, because you were a quarterback, and I understand you were at first Northeastern Louisiana, then went to Appy State. How the heck do you go from a college quarterback to now being one of the faces of the NFL Network? Talk to me about how you got to where you are today with everything that you're doing.
Sure, man. A lot of it is meeting the right people at the right time, the timing situation, and God I believe in God orchestrating kind of your path. And then once you get those opportunities, just putting the work in and working really hard, and good things have happened. To talk about just the happenstance of this thing. So I graduate from college. I take a job with ESPN. So I'm working for Sunday Night Football. I'm a spotter in the booth, which is like the low man on the totem pole. I'm up there. If you're ever watching a game and you see, man, gosh, the announcers picked up very quickly who made the tackle, who missed this. Well, they've got help up there. There's guys up there pointing at boards and sheets and telling them, helping them with what's going on, like an extra set of eyes. Yep. So that was my job. And in my second season with ESPN on Sunday Night Football, we're doing a Ravens game, and we're in Baltimore. I'm up in the press box before the game, and I run into this guy, and I recognize him. I know him. It's my brother, my older brother's high school or college roommate at Liberty. My brother played football at Liberty, and it was his roommate. And his roommate, as we started talking, I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I scout for the Baltimore Ravens." And so we caught up, and he said, "Would you ever be interested in that?" And I was like, "I've never even thought about scouting, but sounds kind of cool." So that's kind of how my path started. I got an opportunity to go to the Combine with them on a volunteer basis. Was like the gopher, like go get foods, get snacks for everybody, save seats at the weigh-ins, like those tasks they give you to see if you really want to do this thing. And that led to an interview, and that led to a job. So that's kind of how I got into it. It's just really randomly run into somebody in a press box.
Yep. And then you were a scout for the Ravens, the Browns, the Eagles. How long were you a scout for? How many years?
Yeah, 8 years. 8 years. So yeah, I was with the Ravens for 4. I got a nice promotion to go to the Browns for 2. We went 10-6 the first year. The next year we went 4-12. And as the Browns love to do, they cleaned house. So we were all out. And then at that time, I started dabbling and doing some media. I started a Twitter page at that time. So this is like 2009. Like this is the launch of Twitter. And that started really growing quickly. And that led to radio interviews. It led to a lot of stuff with ESPN. I thought I was going to get a full-time job with ESPN. The NFL lockout happened. And my Browns money was starting to dry up. So I got offered a job with the Eagles to go back into scouting. So I did that for 2 years. And halfway through my second year with that, I had my broadcasting agent call me and said, "Look, I've got opportunities for you at ESPN and NFL Network." And it was a total God thing, because if it would have been on my plan, we would have had to move to Connecticut, go work for ESPN. And then I just waited 2 years, and I got a job at NFL Network. I didn't even have to move. It's an hour and a half from my house.
Jeez, that is a God thing, guys. If you are on Twitter, follow Daniel at Move the Sticks. He's got one of the top Twitter handles when it comes to ratings. He puts out great content on that. And if you're a sports fan, especially if you're a football fan, you make sure you are on Twitter, Move the Sticks. And also, he's got a great podcast as well on that. So,
TD, what do you think of my flowers back here, brother?
I think they're pretty. I think they're pretty, nice. Actually. They bring out your eyes.
Yeah, thank you. When they came, they designed this whole thing from the network, and I think they decided, he's a scout. Like, we could put a football a helmet. No, let's go orchids. Let's get some orchids behind the skin.
I like it. So if you're on the podcast, he's got like fuchsia colored flowers behind Daniel. It really looks pretty. I really like the look. I hope you wear some purple suit, So the set where he's at right now, and I'm going to talk about this in a second. This is the first time ever we're going to have a virtual draft April 23rd to the 25th. And you're doing the draft for the NFL Network and ESPN from the comforts of your living room. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in my home office, dude. So they put this in place this year. Fortunately, it was good timing. So I got this done prior to last year's draft. And then I've done TV shows. Like we do a show called The Aftermath on the NFL season on NFL Network. And I did that from here. And then now with the way things are set up, we can't have people in the studio. Just the way things are in California, as you know. So our whole network is being operated with everybody at home. So this draft, my guy, Rich Eisen's going to be at his house. I'll be at my house. Kurt Warner will be in Arizona. I mean, however this whole thing comes together, it's being finalized right now. We're all home, man. So it's
the three of you. It's Rich, it's Kurt, and yourself, all in your living rooms, basically commentating the draft.
Yeah, and whoever, I think everything's still being finalized in terms of, are we going to do our own thing as ESPN? Are we going to work together? That's, a lot of stuff being made way above my pay grade. But this is kind of where we are, man. All of us at home. So I always, I don't have any dogs, so I'm okay. I've been doing some TV. When you're doing TV right now with people that are home and they've got dogs, it gets interesting, buddy.
Yeah, I have a Jersey sitting. My pup is sitting on my feet right now. He might start barking. But I have a question. Like, how do you have to do practice runs? Because let's say your bandwidth, you don't have enough internet, coming to your feed. I mean, you're on national TV with millions of people watching from your living room.
Yeah, they've run all those tests. So the good thing is, I've had a chance with this home setup here to do it all through the fall. So we've done a bunch here, but we have a bunch of other people that have just got these cameras installed at their house. And sometimes, the internet's not strong enough. So they've had to call their providers. Sometimes they have to switch their providers to get more bandwidth.
Exactly.
You find out the value of IT folks during this time of year, man. The companies that are going to have a chance to survive, you better be strong in that area.
Oh, I've had to do that myself. The last week alone, I had internet and Wi-Fi issues, and I'm doubling down on my Wi-Fi, and and I was pulling my hair out. And hey, I'm not even doing the national TV thing. It's just a national podcast. That's all it is, right? So hey, I want to talk about the draft. First off, on the virtual draft, what's your feel going into the draft? Is this a strong draft overall? It's obviously people have been very distracted, even myself. So I haven't followed it as closely as you want. What's your overall? Is it going to be a great draft? Is it kind of a mediocre draft class?
It's a good group. I think when you look at it, to me, the strength of the draft is the wide receivers. It's the deepest wide receiver draft that I've seen since I started scouting in 2003. So, there's not a Julio Jones or a Calvin Johnson, but there's just a sheer number of dudes. There are so many guys. So you're going to see guys in the third, fourth round that would have been second round picks in other years. Corner is a really good one. It's just like you're seeing with your boys. When you go watch high school football right now, teams are four wide, throwing the ball all over the place. So the high school game is giving the college game receivers and DBs, and so in the NFL level, that's what they're giving us. A ton of DBs and a ton of receivers. There are some good offensive tackles as well this year, which is much needed. When you look around the league, the tackle play has not been good. But those are probably the three positions I'd say that teams are excited about.
So I won't even ask you if Joe Burrow goes first because I'm not going to reveal my draft. But I do notice that Ohio State and Alabama and Clemson are putting out some thoroughbreds here early on, the first 10 on that. So let's go to the top draft pick.
Yeah.
You want to go to You want to go through your draft? You want me to reveal mine first?
No, I want to go to mine, and then I want to see what the expert says. So let's do that. I've got the top three picks for me haven't really changed that much because you've got Joe Burrow going to Cincinnati. At the second pick, Chase Young, who I think is the best player in the draft, the defensive end from Ohio State. I have him going to the Redskins. And then with the third pick, I have the Lions. They just traded Darius Slay to the Eagles. They have a need at the corner position. So I have them going Jeffrey Okudah from Ohio State. I think there's a chance, when the draft rolls along, you could see somebody trade up. Teams 5, 6, and 7, which are the Miami Dolphins at 5, the Chargers at 6, the Panthers at 7. I think you could see any of those teams try and trade up to the 3 spot. And Detroit, I think, could slide back and still get Okudah. So you could see a trade there, but that's how I have it there. Then you get to the 4th pick. The Giants getting an offensive lineman and Tristan Wirfs from Iowa to get in there and protect their young quarterback and Daniel Jones. And then the 5th and 6th picks, TD, is where it gets interesting because I think the Dolphins and the Chargers both take quarterbacks, but trying to figure out who goes where is the challenge. So I had Justin Herbert going to the Dolphins at 5, followed by Tua to the Chargers at 6.
Whoa.
So what do we got? I want to know where. I don't care about my stuff. I want to know where you are.
You have Tua. You have Tua going to the Chargers?
Yes. Yeah, let's get some excitement. They need a little juice here.
Wait. Before I go, you really think that's going to happen? Like, you think the Dolphins are going to let Tua go?
I'd say that's up in the air. I was at Herbert's pro day. The Dolphins were well represented there up in Eugene. It was the last pro day before everything got shut down with the coronavirus, and they had a strong contingency there. Talking to people around the league that are very tied into that building, say that it looks like they all agree on Burrow, but there's a disagreement on who's after Burrow and in between Tua and Herbert. So, and the way I described it, you remember the show Let's Make a Deal?
Of course.
Great show, right? So I like Tua much better than Herbert as a player. Mm-hmm. But because of the hip injury and there's question marks there health-wise. The way I describe it is, look, with Herbert, he's like a dishwasher, right? Like they're on Let's Make a Deal. Like I can get this nice dishwasher. I mean, I don't really love the dishwasher.
Good, I love it, DJ.
But it's a dishwasher. Then behind the curtain is Tua. But you don't know if Tua is like a week's vacation in the Bahamas or a broom. When you look at
a donkey.
You know, it could be a donkey, right? So that to me is why I could see, with more information on Herbert, the Dolphins going with Herbert over Tua.
Wow. You heard it here first, right here on the Impact Show. DJ Daniel Jeremiah saying that Tua is dropping to the Chargers and that Herbert is going ahead. All right, here are my picks. At number 1, the Bengals. Gosh, I love the Bengals. I want the Bengals to succeed. That's why Joe Burrow will be the number 1 pick. 6'4", 221, LSU, stud quarterback. I love everything about him. The Skins, Chase Young, 6'5", 264, D-end. Man, Ohio State, stud.
They churn him out.
They churn him. They churn him out in this drug. Now we go to the line. This is where it gets interesting. This is where you and I disagree.
Are you going to go Tua here? Are you going Tua?
Who? No. What? Now, why would I go Tua when my guy Chase Daniel is there at the line?
That's right. I forgot Chase
Come on.
Chase is there.
My man Chase Daniel, he's now the backup, and come on.
How is Chase doing? How is he doing?
Chase is doing awesome, man.
Yeah,
Chase is doing awesome. He's great. Man, Tua ain't going to the Lions. They don't want nothing to do with Tua over there. But I'm going with the cornerback out of Ohio State as well.
Yeah. Oh, you sold that like you were going to go off the reservation and
no, I'm going to Kuda. But then I go to the G-men, the team I grew up loving with my man Golden Tate over there. Although, I love the quarterback they got now. I'm going with the Giants with Willis, Jedrick Willis out of Alabama.
Okay. Yep.
6'4", 312. He's gonna do some damage over there. We need a good line over with the G-men. So Jedrick Willis out of Alabama. And then we go to number 5, the Fish, the Dolphins. Who do you go with the Dolphins? This is where we get that quarterback from Alabama.
Okay, you go Tua there.
I'm going Tua at number 5. And I'm gonna go down. He's going down to South Beach. He's got his head on straight. He's not gonna get distracted. I think he's plenty healthy. He's a hard worker. I kind of liken him a little bit to Breezy. I mean, he's a 6 foot, maybe 5'11", 217-pound guy. I like his mobility. I like his mindset. I like the way his makeup is. And I think he's going to get through this injury just fine. And then I'll add one, the Chargers.
Bonus.
Los Angeles Chargers, that is. The bonus. The bonus, it's not real sexy, I'll tell you that much. I wish I would say that they're going Herbert because I think they really do like the quarterback they have there, Tyrod Taylor. And I like what you say, DJ, but I think they're going linebacker. I think they're going out of Clemson.
Yeah.
Simmons. Yep. I think they're going Simmons. I think it's the safe bet. I think they're going Simmons out there. I like what you say, though. I like Herbert going there. That would be a huge pick because they got to sell tickets this fall. Yeah. Man, they got to.
I had Tua going there. So that to me is the home run if you're the Chargers, and that's why I would be motivated to try and get ahead of Miami just to secure Tua if you could pull it off. But I've had conversations with folks in the building there about, man, can you imagine with Derwin James and Isaiah Simmons, the versatility of guys that are 6'3", 230-pound plus guys that run 4.3 when you got to play against Patrick Mahomes. And think about it, if you're trying to win your division with Mahomes and Tyreek Hill, they have speed everywhere. So to have two of the pieces that you can move around, cover Kelsey, these guys can run all over the field. And then also, if you look in the future, like what does the AFC look like? Well, you're going to see Kansas City in the playoffs every year. You're going to see Baltimore in the playoffs every year. And that is speed, speed, speed. So you better get fast on defense.
So what are we putting on this? If you get the top 5, what do I have to do? Because we have different picks.
Well, I still have a final mock draft to go. So there's still I don't use all the good stuff now, TD. You got to.
But me and you, we have 2 different picks. So if you're right, I got to do something. And if I'm right, then what are we putting on right now? 100 push-ups?
How do you know? How do you know that I'm not going to hijack a couple of your picks?
Because you just said it right now. Because you could change it, but you already declared.
That's fine. No, I've got a final one because I'll be honest with you. I think where we differ are the 2 decisions. I think we both agree 1 through 3. And I think that's going to be how it comes off the board with those 3 players, those 3 teams. Now, when you get to 4 and 5, I really believe the Giants will take an offensive tackle. I was told early on in the process that their general manager, Dave Gettleman, loved Wirfs from Iowa. I have Jedrick Wills rated higher than Wirfs as a player. So I could get with that what you had. And then also when we get to 5, that is the Herbert Tua decision. And one thing I would say that you should feel good about is what I was told was that when you talk about the owner with the Miami Dolphins, that he liked Tua. So who do you think gets the final call and who gets to sign off on that decision? So we'll see.
Yeah, no, that's going to be a big decision. That's going to be.
You want to put some push-ups on it, though? You want to do that?
100%, I do.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
I mean,
you got to do more. You're a professional. I mean,
you're a professional too.
Double up.
You got to look good on camera.
Hey, bro, have you seen? We've been doing. Austin Eckler put out like a workout on Instagram. Did you see that the other?
I have not seen it,
dude. You go find that thing. Well, I don't know. When was the last time I did diamond push-ups? Why am I doing diamond push-ups, and why can I not feel my triceps?
It's in my new Get Yoke program, by the way.
It?
Diamond, yeah,
the
triceps, baby.
Me, dude.
You gotta get the triceps. Hey, top sleeper in the draft. If there's a sleeper, you're like, no one's talking about this guy. Who would be a sleeper?
I'll give you a guy. Jeremy Chin is a strong safety from Southern Illinois, and this kid is 6'3". He's 225 pounds. He ran in the mid 4.4s. He has 13 career picks. So he's got ball skills. Some teams like him as a will linebacker. Some teams like him as a down strong safety. He's a great kid. Had a solid Senior Bowl and then just blew up the combine. I compared him. If you remember a guy named Adrian Wilson who played for the Cardinals, who was kind of a height, weight, speed freak safety. This kid reminds me of. Second round. Okay. He'll go in the second round.
Second round. All right. So this is 3 days this year and on national TV. Is it still on national TV?
Yeah, it'll be we're gonna roll. So, it'd be in terms of how the broadcast is going to come together, that's still being finalized, but yeah, we'll have it on NFL Network. There'll be something on ABC and there'll be something on ESPN. So, how it all finally looks will be interesting, but it's going to be, it's like homework, man. It's like we're all working from home.
Contrary to previous beliefs, I hope this draft is prolonged and dragged out as long as possible. I hope this thing is all day and all night over 3 days, because normally it's like, oh my gosh, it's just, hey, number one, it's going to be huge to have, quote, sports back on TV, and this is exciting stuff. And
TD, check this out, dude, because I was doing an interview the other day on a radio station up in the Bay Area, and somebody asked me, what's the interest like in the draft? I mean, obviously, with everything's going on in the world, does anybody even care about this? And I said, well, that's interesting you say that, because I went back and I looked up, like, you can go through Twitter analytics and really study your engagement, what you have on your social following. So in 2019, March, I had, I believe it was 25 million impressions in March of 2019. So 25 million impressions, March 2019. March 2020, 43 million impressions in March 2020. And that's all I talk about is draft. So that shows you, I mean, it's the only show in town right now. There's nothing going on in the sports world. So people are starving for this stuff. And it is a nice I know some people say it's, is it insensitive? Is it the right thing to do, the wrong thing to do? I think it's given a lot of these folks, something else to pay attention to and just have a little bit of fun in the midst of all the hard times everybody's having.
Sports is the fabric and DNA of America. And when it comes to football, I mean, my favorite sport of all, I think it's going to be just a great distraction from all of the negative stuff going on. And now we could actually sit around and actually see some great optimistic, hey, there's going to be a football season in the fall. Folks, let's make sure we know we are going to get through this, and there will be a football season. And the draft is part of that. And you're going to see guys like Daniel Jeremiah for 3 days light up the TV on that. And did you say that ESPN and the NFL Network are doing some joint programming?
So that's been Peter King reported that it looks like there could be us working together on that. Nothing. I have not heard the final word on that. So that is that'll, if that is going to happen, I'm sure it would be announced shortly. But at the end of the day, we're going to have broadcasts. So again, if you get NFL Network, ESPN, ABC, like, you're going to get a chance to follow this thing as it goes along. And of course, all the social media stuff, some folks just follow it on there, so it'll be cranked out.
Yeah. Last couple of questions for you. Best part of your job, Dan. You got a lot of roles because you're the color commentator for the Chargers. You're obviously the face here on the NFL Network. You've got your podcast. You've got social. You have so many things going on. What's the favorite part of your job?
This will sound kind of lame, I guess, to some people, but I like just watching the tape. I really enjoy watching the video of these players, and especially when the process starts and you don't know anything about these guys and you just start from scratch. Because people ask me all the time, what do you miss about scouting? And I said, to be honest with you, not a lot, because my favorite part of scouting was watching, grading, ranking players. I'm still watching, grading, ranking players. I just don't have to go stay at a Hampton hotel room in Starkville, Mississippi, and be away from my family while I'm doing it. So that's what I love doing. And then the conversations I get to have with my buddies. I've got a bunch of GM buddies around the league that we all kind of grew up together in the league. So get a chance to rap with those guys about players. That's what I love.
How much time would you say you put into this whole process of studying these players?
Man. Well, I'll end up doing a little over 400 players that I'll have watched and studied. So if you take into account, on average, I would say on average probably 3 games per player. Some of the top players I'm watching a lot more than that. Some of the lower round guys you might just get through 2 games, but at minimum it's 3. So 400 players times 3 games, and it takes you 40 minutes to get through a game, something like that. I went to App State. I can't do that math, TD, but it's a lot. It's a lot of hours.
Well, there's no mistake why you are where you are because of that exact reason. And I think that's a lesson into itself, is the preparation you put into everything from the Senior Bowl to the different bowl games to the combine and then the draft. Daniel, you've always been one who's put your time into the study aspect, and it comes across on air that you're actually educated, this, and I think that's part of your analysis. What makes you a great analyst is that you understand everything that player's been through personally, what their upside is, what their downsides are, and everything else in between. So kudos for the preparation that you put into your craft as well.
I appreciate that, buddy. It's kind words, and this is one of the reasons why we get along so well, is because I think you realize there's no shortcuts. There's no shortcuts to get where you want to go. So you just got to put in the time and the work. It's something you've always done, and it's been a great example to me. So I like being around people like that. The funny thing is, we'll talk when we get together. We talk and we find out, like, we don't even know we have like the same circle, like
totally.
of friends.
So
we don't, like, together. We don't know that they don't know that we know each other, but it's just we like being around the same type of people.
Iron sharpens iron. Last question. I know you have a family, you have 4 kids.
Yeah.
And the number one question I always get is, how do you balance it all out? As a high performer, as someone who's on the road, you're on TV, you've got a lot going on, but you're grounded, and you're a great family man and a great dad. How do you balance it all out, and where'd that come from?
Well, I think, first of all, I had a great example from my own dad. So, my father is traveled all over the globe, with his ministry. And when I was growing up, he never missed a high school football game of mine. I don't know if he ever missed a high school basketball game, maybe a baseball game, because it was like my third sport. He might miss one of those, but he was always there. And you know what I mean? That's what they say, 90% of it's just showing up. Mm-hmm. So he set a great example from that for me. And you have to constantly be looking at it. You can't, hold on one sec.
And as Daniel is talking right there, he's talking about his father. I've talked about him 1,000 times on the podcast. He's one of my mentors and someone I look up to, Pastor David Jeremiah, who influences millions of people through his ministry, Turning Point. You guys have probably seen him on TV as well. And I have the opportunity to train him all the time. And he tells me stories, not just with Daniel, but his brothers and sisters too, of like, you know, as a father, those are the hardest commitments, but he's told me countless stories of not missing games and how important is even now as a father of a 17, 15 and 12-year-old is like, listen, nothing's more important than showing up at the games. I don't care how big the opportunity is. You got to make sure you're there because they're going to remember that forever.
Man, it's so true, man, and you do a great job with that as well. So it's and let's be honest, like selfishly, I love being around my family. I love being around my kids. No place else I'd rather be. So look, we live a blessed life, and you got to constantly be looking at it, make sure you keep your priorities where they need to be.
Yeah, no, great point. Final question. This is the Impact Podcast. I always talk about impact. What's Daniel Jeremiah's greatest impact going to be here in the next few years?
Well, you know, I'm anxious to see how it all goes, man. This is my second year kind of in this lead analyst role at NFL Network for the draft after Mike Mayock left and took the job with the Raiders as their general manager. So this is where God has me right now in this role. I'm going to try and do it as well as I possibly can. And every year, you know, you finish a project, like the draft is my big project. And I was given some great advice of, once it finishes, immediately while it's right in your mind, make a list of things that you can do better next year in terms of your processes, in terms of your performance. So why that's fresh in your mind. And so I'm so excited about this draft because I can implement all the things I learned that I didn't like about what I did last year. So if you start thinking down the road of, man, every year, if you can just continue to get better and better, learn from these mistakes, it's exciting to see what you can do professionally. But then also getting a chance to, see my oldest is going off to college this year. So I cannot wait to see how she does. You know, she's going to go run track at Dallas Baptist University. Wow. And then and the rest of my kids as they're growing up. So I'm excited to see what the next few years hold.
Well, Daniel, thank you for everything that you're doing. And man, you talk about impact, folks. You want to definitely follow Daniel. Listen to his podcast. Get on his Twitter. He does amazing things. And of course, April 23rd to the 25th, you're going to see a lot of him on the NFL Network. So. Man, I thank you so much for being here today and for dropping your 5 picks. We're going to see what happens because one of us is going to have. Are we doing 100 diamond push-ups or regular push-ups or what do you want? What is it?
Dude, if we're doing 100 diamond push-ups, I might not get them done in time for next year's draft. Go regular push-ups. Push-ups.
So it's either 100 regular push-ups or 50 diamonds.
Okay, there you go.
On that, mix it on up because I want you looking good on air. I want you being all yoked up, looking all that Daniel Jeremiah. He's looking good on air.
It's hard to look bad when you've got these pink flowers behind you, buddy.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
So, guys, thanks so much for being here, listening to the podcast. Daniel Jeremiah here, and he's got pink flowers behind him. He's got like a turquoise lamp. He is ready. He is ready to get on air on the NFL Network. So, from the Impact Show to the NFL Network, DJ, thanks for what you do, brother.
Thanks. You're the best, TD. Appreciate you having me.
Later, brother.